And hello, people. How are we doing? I think we are here. I'm not seeing a notification that my voice is being. DoodleBob, can you hear me? I don't see a microphone thing going off. Hello, DoodleBob, can you hear me?
Hey Scott, how's it going?
It's going all right. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, good. Okay. I don't. There's a microphone thing usually kind of shows that you're being you're speaking. It's not fucking working on mine. How you doing?
I'm fine. I'm sorry I didn't get the chance to come see you when I was in town.
Oh no, man! I was sick as hell this weekend, bud. I couldn't have gone anywhere
I,
anyway.
I got a little sick too. That's the thing.
Yeah. Yeah, BB said something. You guys thought maybe something was running around, something was going around in Tampa. It's possible, you know. So did you have fun down here?
Yeah, I just wish it was more than just a weekend.
Well, what did you do?
Just visited family.
Did you see a beach?
Nah, it was too chilly for that.
Mm,
I mean, I would have gone, but no one else wanted to.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh, yes, I get that. Hey, it was unusually cold last week, and that's how I got sick to start with. And then this past weekend was kind of bad. wasn't as cold, but a lot of people had come down for something, and I guess I did too. Unfortunately, I would have liked to have seen you and said hi to you in person, but you know this always next time.
Yeah, I'll definitely be down there again.
Yeah. Come down maybe in the spring or something when you can go back and go down and see a beach or something. You know, Clearwater's gorgeous. Sarasota's uh, beautiful down there. Siesta Key is pure white sand, and no matter how fucking what time of day it is, uh, and how the sun is out, the sun can be beating down on it all fucking day long. You walk out on it, and the sand is cool. You know, with your bare feet. It's great. It's great. Siesta Key is beautiful. You know. Anyway, uh, sorry we missed each other, but maybe next time. I think is Aunt BB here?
Yes.
Well, hello, Aunt BB.
Hello, Scott.
How you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
I am okay. I think I'm okay. I set
I
this.
know.
I set this thing up quickly
Yeah.
when I plopped down here, and I didn't notice whether or not it's recording. I think it.
All right.
I think it automatically records, doesn't it?
I have no
No,
idea.
no.
No.
This it would say that it's recording, and I don't see that.
Oh.
It if it was through Twitter, I know you record spaces through something else, but
Well,
I'm not seeing.
I'm definitely seeing. I'm definitely recording right now on OBS.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you guys want to have access to it. I'm going to put this up on BitChute
Mm.
and YouTube probably about an hour after we're done. But if you guys want to be able to grab this from the Twitter location, then I can stop this one. Nobody else is here. Restart it and record it that way.
Well, I don't know that you can download from a Twitter space, download a Twitter space. I
Oh,
think it just
No,
stays on Twitter. It just stays on
he's saying
Twitter.
he's saying that he's gonna do the download. He's gonna record on Twitter and also do his separate recording on whatever device he was
right.
using.
Well, I mean, is it available to you guys and people who watched it to listen to on Twitter?
Yeah,
If you're on
if you
Twitter,
set
yeah.
if you set the recording, anyone can listen in
Yeah.
later on.
Would you guys prefer we do it that way? I just have to. I have to end this one and start it up again.
Well, no. Don't stop recording. You've already started.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean,
Don't worry about it. I think last time was the first time you actually recorded on Twitter before you just recorded the space on your OBS.
Okay.
I know about it.
I tried to plug people subscribing to my YouTube channel on the videos this morning so that I could hopefully go live on YouTube, and I'm pulling up YouTube right now to see. I think I think I got one subscriber out of that. That's awesome. So we just need 54 more days of me doing that, getting one subscriber a day. We'll be set. That'll be terrific. I guess people are like, fuck you, Scott. I ain't subscribing to YouTube. Screw you. There you go.
Yeah, the people, they think that people shit all over YouTube, which I understand, but they act like all these alternative platforms are so superior.
Oh,
and that's not necessarily the case. It's like people on Twitter will shit all over Blue Sky. Blue Sky's not perfect, but they don't, because these are usually like the blue check accounts that get money and they earn money for Elon. So of course they're going to shit all over Blue Sky.
I set up my Blue Sky account, and I posted like 3 things to it, and I got like 3 subscribers to Blue Sky. I haven't been back since.
Yeah, I'm not. There's just too much social media, so.
Let me pull up Blue Sky and see if I've gotten more than 5 subscribers on it. I don't know. I'm gonna pull it up on my
followers.
My followers, subscribers. I don't know what the fuck's called. Hang on a second. Let me see what we got. Oh no, I'm not signed in automatically. Oh yeah, I am. Mm-hmm. So I've got my. Hang on. Profile. Oh, I've got 8 followers. I'm following 7 people. That's awesome. I got to follow back on these 8 followers. Hang on a second. Even though I'm never.
I haven't been on there for a while. I have to look here.
Ananda Pradipta.
Yeah.
Ananda Pradipta.
Yeah, he won't follow me in that because he's blocked me on Twitter.
Yeah. So there we go. There. When's the last time I did anything on this?
There are a number of accounts I'm following on Blue Sky because they're not on Twitter anymore. These are people who have moved over. And, there's some information that I appreciate from these accounts. Not that they're perfect or anything.
No.
But, yeah.
So I have 3 posts, and the last time I was there was 13 days ago. So.
Yeah, that's the same.
Oh, there you go. So
it's just an alternative,
Well, BitChute's a good alternative, but like I said in the video, they're running ads on my shit. They got 1,400 subs
that's
over there.
so annoying.
And I make a nickel off of that, and there's no way for me to monetize that. So
and they run ads in the middle of your videos too.
Yeah, I heard
not
that.
Just at the beginning.
I heard that. See, I proof check, or I check my videos on the computer. I don't check them after I upload them. So someone told me a little while ago that they're running ads in the middle of my goddamn videos. So, but like I said in today's video, it's a venue and people are seeing the stuff, and it's free. I haven't got to pay for it. Even though they ask me, they've got that little thing up there. Hey, you want to donate yourself? I should give you cash and content, so you can make extra money. I haven't done that, but so I mean they do that. I think they took 1 video down, or 2 videos down all this time maybe. They're relatively good. From what I understand about Twitch is heavily censoring anything in support of Palestine. Anything in support of Palestine. I wouldn't do Rumble because Rumble's just it's an echo chamber, you know. It's just a bunch of Trumpite echo chamber things. Somebody, DoodleBob, can you grab my image from my that I posted up of the Hail Trump image I posted up on my Twitter thing and put it up on this thing? I don't know how you do that. You did that before. You posted it up on this thing before. You know what I'm talking about? DoodleBob is gone. Okay. Maybe I can do it. Everybody's gone. Look at that. The whole thing is shut down. They shut me down. The whole thing is gone. Well, just while everybody's gone, there's the image I'm talking about. Nice. Okay. And I don't know if I'm allowed to have people back on here. What is going on? I don't know. Everyone is gone. It says end, so I guess I'm still broadcasting here. Ah, someone's back. DoodleBob is back. Well, hello, DoodleBob. You guys got kicked off. I approved you as a speaker.
Hey, Scott, can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay. I think something just happened to the app. I wasn't even able to send a tweet to someone.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think, something was wrong with the app.
Oh, okay. So we still, I guess we're still broadcasting, right?
Yeah, I got kicked out and I had a problem getting back in. And then it made me start a space of my own. Like, what the fuck? That was bizarre.
Are you doing a space now?
No, I don't know. I was just trying to join yours and it set up a space that I was running. I said, shit, I don't want that.
I think the app malfunctioned.
Yeah, the app.
Yeah.
So are we still broadcasting or not?
Yes. Yeah.
We're
You
back
are
on
now. Something happened. There was a glitch. Something happened.
Because I can't even see the top of my I can't see the top of the thing where the arrow is up there. I can't see it.
Well, I'm on the phone. On the phone, it looks different from if you're on the desktop.
Oh, here it goes. I got it now.
Mm-hmm.
So, DoodleBob, can you put this? Look, can you put this image? Oh, wait a minute. That's weird. It jumped off of that. Can you put this?
Did you tweet something?
I tweeted something. An image. Oh yeah, my new Twitter Spaces live chat tonight. Can you put that image on our thing we're doing now? You did it before.
Sure, but
Why?
Where's the tweet though? Did you just tweet it out now?
No, about 5 hours ago. It's the one with Mika and Joe Scarborough.
Oh, okay, that one.
Yeah, Trumpites have no heroes. Hail Trump. Hail Trump. Hail Trump.
Okay,
I see it. There.
I just posted it.
Cool. I don't even know how to do that. That's awesome. Yeah.
In Twitter Spaces, we call that the Jumbotron.
That's the Jumbotron? So you do Twitter Spaces a lot with other people?
I used to. Well, I haven't really much lately.
Okay. Is it a thing that has come and gone, and once again, Scott is way behind the curve on this one?
Nah, I wouldn't go that far.
If I'm not behind the times, I'm not happy. I need to be way behind the times. All right, well, that's cool. I appreciate that. So what are we talking about just amongst ourselves today?
Well, that ceasefire situation, that's something new to figure out.
Yeah.
And
in Lebanon.
Yeah, I watched your videos about that. So.
Yeah. What do y'all think?
Well, the thing is, Hezbollah is not the Lebanese government. They're part of the government. So this ceasefire is between the Lebanese government and Israel.
Yes.
And I've seen that Hezbollah has not necessarily agreed to it. So, and also it's only for what, 60 days, over 60 days. But you know that Netanyahu
just enough time to get into the Trump administration.
Yeah, and then Netanyahu is biding his time, and you know they're just notorious for breaking ceasefires or agreements or whatever.
Right.
Right. So.
And that combined with the news today about the quote unquote Syrian rebels launching an offensive on Aleppo.
Well, Israel's been launching attacks on a regular basis on Syria.
Yeah.
And they launched one just last night, just as a ceasefire, I think.
The quote-unquote rebels, our proxy.
Quote-unquote Syrian.
Our quote-unquote Syrian.
So the fronts are shifting fronts, I would say.
Well, they're not attributing Israeli fucking bombardment to Syrian rebels.
No, I'm not saying that.
They're complementary. But the quote-unquote Syrian rebels are the same mercenaries that made up the Syrian Defense Forces, the same Wahhabist and Takfaris.
And they run the Palestinian restaurant here in Abbotsford.
Okay. They also, there was a thing where ISIS was attacking in Afghanistan just about 3 weeks ago, was it?
ISIS-K.
ISIS-K, otherwise known as the CIA, was attacking the Islam. It was so funny. They were attacking a truly Islamic State.
Yes, I know.
They are called the Islamic State. And their whole thing is they want an Islamic State. And so how they get that? By attacking Islamic states.
Well, there have been bad terrorist attacks in Pakistan, too. Yes, and there was one. So I know there's this orchestrated Baluchistan independence movement, and I think one of the attacks was attributed to them. That's another. Yeah.
And in Pakistan, what is happening with this Imran Khan thing and the uprising taking place to get him out?
Well, there are protests off and on over Imran Khan, but they are generally trying, and apart from that, the West and Israel, I'll throw that in, are always trying to destabilize Pakistan.
Yeah.
Or that whole region, really.
Well, at certain times when they have certain leaders.
Yeah.
I don't think we're behind this. I think this is kind of an organic thing because they're sick of the people that were the person.
No, I don't mean the Imran Khan.
Right,
I'm talking about this.
Yeah, we have a long history because the way Pakistan is set up, we have influence in. What is it? ISI? What is their intelligence and their military?
Yeah, ISI. That's the Pakistani intelligence.
We have inroads there with corrupt fucking generals and leaders of the ISI and so forth and their intelligence apparatus. We have less access to their government. And depending on who was elected and who was prime minister, that's how the fucking terrorism goes against Pakistan. When there's someone in power that we like, the terrorism obviously subsides. When there's someone like Imran Khan or someone we don't like, then it accelerates.
Well, I've noticed it's not always about the current government. The goal is to break up countries, constantly break them up into smaller parts. So this is what this Baluchistan terrorism actually goes into Iran. There's a Baluchi part of Iran. It crosses borders. And this is the goal, is to break up these countries, regardless of whatever government, whether they can influence the government in power or not.
Right.
It's to break up nation states into the
smaller. It's to break up nation states. It's nation building, but at the same time, they're manufacturing larger nation states. notably Greater Israel and Greater Kurdistan.
Israel and what? Greater
Kurdistan.
Israel.
Greater Kurdistan.
Oh yeah, no, those are the exceptions. That's what I mean.
Right.
Is those yeah.
But I know what you're
But
saying.
I'm talking
Yes.
about
Yes.
the ones that are not on board completely.
If you look at Lieutenant
yeah.
Peters' 2005 map of the
Yeah.
new map of the new Middle East,
Yes, exactly.
you'll see that they broke up they planned to break up Saudi Arabia into four different fucking
Yes.
four different sectarian fucking
Sectarian.
states.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
To weaken them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry, DoodleBob,
Yeah.
you were saying?
Well, it's kind of out of not really in the news, but I know BB, you've talked about the Philippines. Would the Aceh separatists be another example of what you're talking about?
You mean the Muslims in the South?
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
Aceh.
That I don't. Anyway, that's
No,
part of
wait.
the war.
I'm
Huh?
confusing. That's Indonesia.
That's Indonesia.
I'm sorry.
That's Indonesia.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what you were talking about. Philippines. Yeah. Well, the Philippines has been a target of the war of terror. And then they have these fake communists operating there that were attacking Chinese projects in the Philippines. Yeah.
Well, there's another prime example in China.
Well, yeah, Hong Kong and Taiwan and
No.
What?
The fucking
What are you talking
about?
the Uyghurs.
Xinjiang.
Yeah, of course.
the
In
Uyghurs.
China, there's all different separatist movements.
And Tibet.
And Tibet, yes. Yeah,
And
yeah.
and Inner Mongolia is another one you don't hear often about. Inner Mongolia.
And there's an operation going on with separatists in Turkey. Not only the PKK and the Kurds, but also the Muslims that are associated and aligned with the Uyghurs in China. That CIA operation to
That's the thing is the Turks. There's a pan-Turkic
the Turkmen
elements.
The Turkmen.
Yeah. Well, Turkmen. No. Well, the Turks came from Central Asia, and so they're allied with all these Central Asian Turkic, former Soviet republics.
I got you.
But yeah, there's a Turkmen. Yeah, there's a Turkmen ethnicity. Yeah.
Right.
But Uyghurs, the thing is, Uyghurs were allowed to come to Turkey, and the Turkish government didn't realize at first what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
So because they have their immigration policy, they will welcome people who are of a Turkic background, like Uyghurs. But the Erdogan government realized the problem there is Uyghurs were being sent in there to go across border into Syria.
Right.
And they were,
And it's important to note when we talk about these different groups and these various nations that are targeted, we're not talking about the entire population, like the Kurds. Right. A very small amount of the Kurds and living in Syria wanted to, bust off a chunk of the country and turn it into fucking Rojava. And the Syrian Democratic Forces and the PKK and ISIS, when they went through and were clearing out these cities, they were clearing them out of Kurds, Syrian citizens who were loyal to Syria. They were killing Kurds. They were killing other Kurds in order to drive them out, get them out, take the land. And again, like Israel does, say it's a land without a government, so we have a people who are going to replace it with the government of Rojava. That's what
they
do.
use identity. Like, if you insult this greater Kurdistan project, oh no, you're anti-Kurdish. You don't like Kurdish people. You're a bigot.
I wonder where they learned that from.
Yeah, I'm actually in an exchange with some of these, a couple of these Zionist accounts on Twitter, and I keep stressing Judaism is a religion. Judy, and they'll go Arabs and Jews. And going, well, they're Jewish Arabs. So what do you? Judaism is a religion.
They're also Christian Israelis. Yeah.
Yeah. I looked up Menachem. Mordecai Vanunu. Did you know he converted to Christianity? He got so disgusted with the Judaism that he encountered in Israel.
Was Vanunu the one who exposed the plant down there? What's it called?
Dimona. The Dimona.
All right, that was Vanunu.
Yeah, I was reading it, and yet sometimes he goes by the name John Crossman. Cross, I guess, from the crucifix. So he's from Morocco. His family immigrated to Israel, and he was getting disenchanted with the Jewish religion, I'm sure, from the way it was presented in Israel. So, God, yeah.
I heard
he wears a pearl.
I heard Gideon Levy doing a thing on Democracy Now! Today, talking about what this means and how it's being interpreted in Israel.
The ceasefire?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And he's of the same thing I covered this morning. It's all well and good, but we know Israel's going to violate it. And of course, the way they're going to violate it is get somebody into Lebanon to fire off some bottle rockets. And then they have reporters there saying, "Oh my God, they attacked," and so they can attack.
Yeah. Yeah.
But here's the thing: how do you guys feel about the actual? Because, like I said, I'm kind of split, and I think that Levy was split as well, and he talked about this. He said in Israel, it's being reported as a major victory for the Israelis. Not because they're being ushered out like they were in 2006, obviously, but because they got Hezbollah and Lebanon to leave Hamas hanging all by themselves. When the whole point was, they were saying they're not ever going to do that until Israel is gone. So that's how it's being reported as a victory by some in Israel. He also mentioned the fact that there are full-fledged messianic rabid Zionists on the ultra-right wings who are pissed off, and settlers who are pissed off because the settlers were literally being picked up by some of the IDF and folks on the way out and forced to leave. They're having to leave, and they were fucking plotting out the plots of land for themselves in fucking Lebanon, thinking that was theirs. They're going to take it and keep it. So there's I know it's a weird thing in Israel. On the left, he was saying even fucking left-leaning politicos in Israel are saying it's a embarrassment for Israel to be backing out of there when they should have been continuing to pound the civilians in fucking Beirut.
I think Hezbollah and Iran are sort of seeing it as a crack in Netanyahu's government or whatever.
Well, that's part of what I was trying to express today, in that, when I first was looking into it, I was disappointed in Hezbollah. But again, Hezbollah hasn't.
They never come out and said, "Well, to it."
There are reports out of Iran that Hezbollah has at least agreed to abide by it,
right?
Which, tacitly speaking, is agreeing to it. If they're not saying "fuck you," we're still here, and you try to move more, we're going to shoot and kill more fucking IDF members. So if they're not doing that, then they have agreed to it.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm kind of disappointed in that. However, it was looking at the Hamas response to it that made me think, well, maybe, because the way they're looking at it is, the whole thing was, it wasn't just Gaza, but it was the whole greater Israel thing. They were going to go out to Lebanon, and then, of course, eventually Jordan, and then move their way, take more of fucking Syria, and then a big chunk of fucking Saudi Arabia. and of course Egypt. But that's down the road. So they're thinking maybe this means this is a good indication that the nix is being put on that whole operation. I don't think it is. What do y'all think?
Well,
Well,
though, I'll go, DoodleBob, if you want to go ahead.
well, I was just going to say, a year ago after October 7th kicked off, and I mean, Nasrallah and Hezbollah in general made it clear they didn't really want to get involved in Gaza for the time being, right?
Right. Well,
So I guess on that point, I just don't really see how that's the point of this ceasefire.
what do you mean?
Well, if they're trying to
What they
split
said,
to keep,
what Nasrallah said and what Hezbollah said in late October 2023 is vastly different than what they said in May of 2024. But also keep this in mind: the conflict between Israel and this current conflict between Israel and Lebanon, it predates October the 7th. It started in September of 2023. It's 14 months old, right? So, I mean, they were already in the process, and they were already in some kind of conflict with Israel in the north. It wasn't as open.
Sporadic.
It was sporadic, yes, but it was there. They weren't bombing Beirut, obviously, but so I don't know. I don't understand your question, DoodleBob.
well, I'm just saying, you were talking about why is this ceasefire occurring, and I'm just spitballing here. I just don't really see how Hamas's activity, how that could be a big motive for what Israel's trying to get out of this ceasefire with Lebanon.
Oh, well, it's symbolic. First of all, I don't question why the ceasefire happened, why Lebanon agreed to it. Because Israel was bombing civilian infrastructure, took out an 8-story apartment building just outside of Beirut. They had killed thousands of civilians already, hundreds of children. They had lost a bit of territory in the last 4 months. I remember when Israel said they had gone into Lebanon, and they hadn't actually gone into them. They have gone into them, So Lebanon, it makes good sense that Lebanon would agree to this. How that works for Israel, it's, in my opinion, of course, I don't live in Israel, but I think that Gideon Levy was hinting at it. It's basically it's propaganda, and it makes Hezbollah, it makes Hamas feel alone and isolated. And if Hamas feels alone and isolated, it helps the negotiating process. This is what the Israelis said. It helps the negotiating process. This is also what the State Department of the United States said. So that helps. If they feel isolated, like that nobody else gives a shit about them, no one's going to help them anymore, they'll give in to what Israel and what the U.S. want. So that's kind of how that's a victory for Israel on the Hamas front. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I can see that. I'm just saying, compared to what Hezbollah's messaging in the past, I mean, obviously they support Hamas's goals, but I just don't see materially how this affects what Hezbollah would do in regard to Gaza. I mean, I'm not trying to stress this point too much. This is just spitballing, but I really don't know the full context of why of Israel's motive. I mean, obviously you're right about about why they would agree to this.
So what is Israel's motive? Israel's motive to do this is because Israel was losing. This is the same. Listen, this is the exact same deal, including the fact that Hamas at first wasn't on board with it, but this is the exact same deal that ended the conflict in 2006. It's the exact same deal. The only difference is the arbiters of it. And I think it's the United States and France, and I think one other nation are going to be the ones down there, along with the 5,000 troops from Lebanon. That's going to be a big difference. Plus, look at it this way, too. Israel has the 60 days to pull their troops out, slowly but surely. Hezbollah has to get out almost immediately. Who knows what's that will help Israel to rearm. Anytime you have a ceasefire like this, one of the things you got to watch is who does this aid? Who's in the process of losing? Israel was in the process of losing. They were. Because they're running out of munitions. Because
they were having supply issues, equipment problems. Yes, I think Netanyahu even said so. That this was going to give them time to get to restore their forces or whatever.
Right, and it gives them a chance. Morale in the country was not behind this. Of course, the far right, the Zionists, the fucking settlers, they were all behind it. The Greater Israel guys were behind it. But the country's getting tired of it. The country's getting tired of it. So this is a victory for them. They can declare victory and get the fuck out, as we did in Vietnam and other places.
I think this is the longest, biggest, most protracted military operation Israel's been involved in, right?
I would say you're right. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
more
except
than the Intifada.
Well,
what?
Well,
that wasn't a war. That was an insurrection.
That was it's an insurrection. But I mean, you could call it a domestic. You wouldn't call it a civil war. So yeah, it's a domestic insurrection. But certainly, the military occupation would count of the West Bank and Gaza. I think that would count. They've been losing soldiers, nowhere near to the number that the Palestinians have lost, but they've been losing soldiers since 1967.
Yeah, right? But that's why I said this is the biggest, most protracted,
yes.
And it's on a number of different fronts.
This is the largest that they've had military to military. The biggest, the longest protracted military to military conflict they've ever been involved in. Yes.
Yeah.
And they were losing.
Yes, they were.
How long did it take in 2006? Like 2 months? Less than that.
Yeah, it wasn't that long. Yeah.
And they got their asses kicked.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of Lebanese died. A lot of civilians died because that's what the IDF does.
Yeah.
So, are you guys supportive of the ceasefire, or are you not? Are you disappointed, or are you not?
I'd say cautiously, yes.
Well, it's good the Lebanese people, they're getting a break, and they were happy. They got a break, and things are bad, so at least they get the break. Not that the people in Gaza are getting a break.
Yeah. I saw a number of newsreels out of Beirut, civilians out in the street celebrating.
Yeah.
Many of them waving Hezbollah flags.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is that people will say, "Oh, well, those are just the Shiites." No, Hezbollah has support among Christians.
They don't have support among Sunnis?
Oh no, I'm saying probably.
Probably.
I'm saying it's not. Yeah, no, but I'm just making a big contrast.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's jump over to the other thing I talked about, and that was Mr. Lindsey Graham's chat with Sean
I heard
Hannity.
him on the radio.
Yes, on the radio here they had broadcast, we will crush your economies.
We'll make your
Oh my
economy
God.
scream. Right. That's the same
Oh, and
thing
they're
Mexico said.
blaming Canada and Mexico for the drug and immigration problem?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Jesus.
And China, of course.
Yeah.
Well, it's
But
probably.
those are
Why does he have to be my senator?
Is he really?
right. All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to vote.
Oh, he
You got to
always
vote
reminds
harder,
me of,
DoodleBob. You got to vote harder.
Lindsey Graham always reminds me of that Scarlett O'Hara's first husband in Gone with the Wind. I forget his name. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He always reminds me of
Yeah.
a fucking.
She ate him,
He always
and
reminds
then,
me
and then
of.
he died quickly.
He always makes
Yeah.
me think of what would Liberace have been if he had gone into politics.
Oh, but people used to joke, how Lindsey Graham and John McCain were just absolutely inseparable.
Oh, yeah.
And they went to Ukraine and were cheering on the Nazis there.
Oh yeah.
And they were just together all the time. So they joke about them. Were they a same-sex couple? What was going on there?
I don't know. Fighting John McCain, the fucking snitch, guy who sold out his fucking fellow soldiers back in the day in Vietnam. You guys read about that? Y'all know about that?
The what? Sorry.
When John McCain sang like a bird.
Oh yeah, no, I remember the song. The bomb bomb. You mean bomb bomb bomb?
No,
bomb,
I mean
bomb,
when he was shot
Huh?
down
Oh
in
yeah,
Vietnam.
yeah.
He was a songbird McCain.
Oh yeah. Oh right. Okay. Sorry, I've never heard that nickname of his, but I know the story. What you're talking about.
Old Vietnam vets hated his ass.
Yeah.
Yeah. He sung like
Yeah.
a fucking bitch. Huh? Go ahead.
Even though my parents are Republicans, they said that they had to hold their nose to vote for John McCain.
Yeah. My dad didn't do it. My dad was career Navy. There's no way in hell he was going to vote for fucking John McCain. He was also a career Republican. There's no way he was going to do it. Nope. He said no.
Well, now my parents they never would.
Yeah.
Like that they'll never vote for Lindsey Graham either.
Yeah. So Lindsey Graham, for those of you who don't know, Nate and Thomas. Hello, Nate and Thomas. How you guys doing? If y'all want to talk, just put a request in. I'll click on it, or somebody will click on it. But
Somebody, you're the only host. There's no co-host.
oh, y'all can be co-hosts if you want.
Well, the problem is I get kicked out, and then
Yeah. Then you can't get back in. So we were talking about simply talking about what Lindsey Graham said about how dare any of our allies even think about supporting the ICC warrants against our glorious friend Benjamin Netanyahu.
Well, it is a good
maniac.
point to make. The U.S. has never agreed to the ICC's. They're not a member. The U.S. isn't a member.
Well, there's a reason for that.
Oh yeah.
There's a damn good reason for that.
Oh yeah.
We'd be going through this every fucking 6 months with somebody. But they are. Here's the point. Here's the takeaway from that. They're scared. They are scared. And I thought that it was another good point of mine this morning. Y'all can pat me on the back if you like. This is exactly why BRICS is doing as well as it is. This is what we do with our fucking influence. This is why we have the dollar has to be the fucking the currency of record for international trade, so we can use it to hold over people's head and threaten them to do what we want them to do. And people are saying, "Fuck you." Wouldn't that be a thing now? If all of these countries that Lindsey Graham opened his mouth and threatened and committed an act of terrorism by doing so, by the way, all of a sudden, all of them joined fucking BRICS, including Canada. Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah. BRICS is very popular, so popular that they're actually not taking in new members. They have another category like partners because they're getting swamped with countries that want to join.
Yeah. And they will. They'll open up the books. They'll open up the books like another a mob thing. They'll open up the books and bring in a couple more from time to time. But that's the unipolar system. That's what Lindsey Graham gave voice to. He said the quiet part out loud. That's what the unipolar system is. And people are like, oh my God, Scott, the multipolar system, it's still a world order. We don't need any world order. So what do you want? Just fucking survival of the fittest? Dog eat dog? What the fuck do you want? The multipolar world system respects boundaries, respects borders, doesn't use their influence to force people, nation states, to do what they want. Whereas the opposition of that, the unipolar world order, ours, does. And people are sick of it.
Well, the U.S. and Israel are getting very isolated. Like you'll see European countries are getting kind of fed up, and yeah, it's very striking how the U.S. and Israel are going solo, or maybe a few little puppet regimes.
If you think that's bad now, if you think that's happening now, you wait and see. 6 months into Trump's thing. And it's not really Trump. It's not really Trump. It's Project 25.
Yeah,
it's the Heritage Foundation. He's just he's a front for it. It's Peter
he's
Thiel.
The front man.
It's Peter Thiel.
Oh, yeah.
It's Elon Musk.
Speaking of, I have a pretty dire prediction. Something's going to happen soon, but if you'd like, I can save that till later.
No, we like dire predictions.
Okay. Are you guys ready for this?
Okay, yes. Too much build-up now, DoodleBob. Just say it.
Okay. I'm predicting in the next couple weeks, I believe that Trump is going to be assassinated. And
okay. What good does that say?
Well, probably to usher in President Vance,
Doesn't work.
Fully usher in.
Doesn't work.
No,
doesn't work.
But there's more to it.
Go ahead.
Also, they can frame someone like Iran for it. Something like that.
Iran working through domestic terrorist proxies like Scott Creighton. Yeah, go ahead. I got you. I'm with you so far. Yeah.
And there's a reason I believe this. So, you know how we've talked about how there's 9/11 imagery all over media before 9/11 actually happened.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And well, I'm whenever I watch movies or TV shows now, I'm always on the lookout. What's the psyop they're conditioning us for next? Right. And in early 2020 on HBO, there's this show called Westworld. You may have heard of it.
Of course.
There was a commercial for a new season.
It was an old movie. It was an old movie originally.
Right.
Yeah.
Made into an HBO thing, yeah.
And it shows a timeline of it shows two events that had already happened at that point. And BB, you'll like this. The first one, it's in June 2019, the Hong Kong riots. That's the first event that they show. Then it shows December 2019, the president is impeached. And then it starts showing things in the future that's going to happen. It shows in the 2030s that a new Russian civil war, and apparently that's what that season was about, or at least partially about. But the one I want to get into, there was one, it was dated December 9th, 2024. The president-elect of the United States assassinated in Buenos Aires.
Did it name him?
No, it just said president-elect of the United States assassinated.
Okay.
And there is a real possibility that Trump will be in Buenos Aires early next month because Milei is inviting him to CPAC Argentina, which is set to take place either next week or in 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, that's interesting. Is it possible that CPAC's schedule has been around for a couple of years?
Yeah, it's possible.
Here's the thing. I'm with you. I'm a big fan of the Lone Gunman. That spinoff from X-Files that dealt with somebody remote hijacking a jumbo airliner and slamming it into one of the World Trade Centers. And that was broadcast in May of 2001. In May. That's when that's the pilot from that show. That was broadcast. And that's exactly what happened. Only they didn't have, Mulder on board to take control of the plane and fly between the Twin Towers, unfortunately, in real world. So I know these things happen. In terms of, now, is it to condition, people always say that, it's to condition the public to be ready for something. I don't think that conditions you to be ready for the Trump being assassinated in December of 2024. Some would argue what happened with Fox was a warning. Some would also argue that people in the know take pleasure in leaking little things out there so that the public can see it. And then they whisper amongst themselves and laugh amongst themselves. And I think that's a bigger motivation. But I know these things do happen. So I'm with you. I get that. But here's the thing. Vance does not become president if Donald Trump is assassinated between now and January, I think, 20th? Or should I say he has to be, they have to accept the Electoral College votes, and that's, I think, January 6th or 7th or 8th this year. At this time, I don't know what it is. But they have to have a session in Congress, in the Senate, where they accept the fucking Electoral College votes. And then officially, Donald Trump is, and what's his name is, Vance's president and vice president elect. Right now, they're vice president and vice president elect in name only. But that's when it's official. You shoot him before then, J.D. Vance is nothing. J.D. Vance was not elected president of the United States. And unless we do the same bullshit we did with fucking Kamala Harris. Now, how many times have I said, DoodleBob, that this could be a situation, which is why Peter Thiel put him in charge, that Peter Thiel had a meeting, put a never-Trumper on the ticket with Donald Trump 2 days after Donald Trump was shot in the ear. Peter Thiel called him in. Peter Thiel made him come to him, and they had that fucking discussion. And he sat Trump and Vance down, and when they came out, Trump was like, okay, he's going to be my vice president. Right? Is there a reason? Could that be something similar to what happened in 1980? Reagan hated fucking George H.W. Bush. Reagan chewed him up in all the debates. George H.W. Bush is probably smarter, certainly more wily, certainly has more influence. But Reagan was a fucking world-renowned actor and a well-liked individual. And he could easily fucking pick apart the weaknesses in debates. He chewed fucking George H.W. Bush apart. People didn't like him. And yet, George Shultz sat them down. Rockefeller sat him down and said, okay, he's going to be your vice president. And then 60 days after the inauguration, Reagan was walking out, I think it was a Watergate hotel, I'm pretty sure it was. And instead of having the limo right there, the Secret Service right there, the limo was all the way down at the end of the block, around the corner. And they walked the president all the way. Why would the Secret Service do that? Walked him all the way down there to get in the fucking limo. And as he came to the limo, right there at the corner, out from the corner popped Hinckley, who unloaded his little revolver. Shot Brady and shot Reagan. And I think shot one of the Secret Service guys because he fucking sucked. It sounds a lot like that bullshit jackass they had up on the fucking roof with that AR-type rifle shooting at Trump. Now, what's the interesting thing about Hinckley? Hinckley is the son of a business partner and longtime friend of one George Herbert Walker Bush. And ever since then, in the Reagan administration, both terms, the presidential daily briefing did not go to Ronald Reagan. It went to George Herbert Walker Bush. And ever since then, Nancy Reagan became a rabid defender of anyone getting anywhere fucking near her husband, and that included, certainly, George Herbert Walker Bush, any of the aides, and especially Secret Service. So, would that then put J.D. Vance in office? Of course it would. Is that a possibility? Of course it is. I don't know about December, but I've said this many times. You know, once I found out that J.D. Vance was their pick, and J.D. Vance was a never-Trumper and a guy who's openly supported fucking Hillary Clinton over Donald Trump. I'm like, that's really an odd pairing.
Evan
and
McMullen.
Yet, huh?
Evan McMullen.
Evan McMullen, same thing. Yeah. There's a number of them.
No. I'm saying Vance supported McMullen, not Hillary.
Oh, no. Well, he said he would vote. No. He voted for McMullen, but he said he would rather have Hillary Clinton than Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was a never Trumper. You know. So yeah, I mean it's, and here's the thing. Trump only has 4 years of useful service to them. J.D. Vance has 8. Right? And stability is always the biggest thing in the world to these guys. Put somebody in power, slam the economic brick as fast, as hard as possible, and then keep them as long as possible in the fucking White House and keep that system in place as long as possible, because that's how Wall Street grows. You know, the futurist markets, right? So yeah, I agree. That's an issue. That's a possible issue. But I don't think it would be as early as December, even though the show might suggest it. I don't think it would be as early as December.
I posted my tweet with that snapshot from that show's commercial.
Okay. Oh, okay. Cool. Can you post it on the billboard? Is that what you call it? The billboard?
Yeah, I put it on the jumbotron.
Oh, I don't.
Can you see it up there?
No, I see mine. Hang on. I don't see. Oh, there's one. No, there it just showed up.
I don't see it still. I don't see it.
I had to close the one DoodleBob put up of ours.
Oh, I see it now. Okay.
Okay, well, you know, if that comes true, then people will turn to DoodleBob and say, aha, DoodleBob knows some shit. He's
I don't make predictions, so I'm never wrong.
Yeah. But I see where you're going with that. I just think it's premature in terms of how the Electoral College system works and how approvals work. The Electoral College is going to cast their votes for Donald Trump to be president of the United States. The ones that, you know, the Electoral College votes that he won. They didn't cast, they're not going to cast their votes for J.D. Vance to be president of the United States. So if that were to happen, what could happen if that happened is they'd have to have a do-over, which would keep Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, and more importantly, Joe Biden's wife in charge for maybe an additional year. That could be a thing. But I think that there's a reason, you know, when they did it back in 1981, they waited until after the inauguration. But then again, there was no precedent for just automatically making Kamala Harris the nominee, having received 0 electoral college votes to be president of the United States. There's no precedent for that in modern American history. Maybe way back in the day in the 18 somethings, but to my knowledge, there's no precedent for that.
That she was made nominee, right? Is that what you're talking?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, there should have been at the Democratic convention a contested convention where they put forward nominees for people to take Joe Biden's place because he clearly wasn't capable of doing it. That's happened. I don't know how long it's been, but it's been a while. Maybe with RFK Jr.'s shooting? No, not RFK Jr. RFK being shot, because he was the presumptive nominee then. Maybe that's when they did the last time they did a contested election that I know of, contested convention that I know of. But I've never heard of, oh, well, she's his vice president, so therefore, no. She's not his vice president starting in 2024. He hadn't won in 2024. Ergo, she had no right to that fucking post. So there should have been a contested convention, and they should have the delegates should have all argued their positions. The contestants, the nominees, would come out and make their case over the course of the week, whatever it is, the convention is, and they vote.
Well, in 2016, Hillary was declared the nominee before the primaries were even over.
Yeah, but that's... Yeah. Well, you can do that. That happens all the time when you win enough of the electoral of the votes of the states, right? Right?
I don't know. I'm just sort of pointing out, and technically Bernie had won the primaries too. What was the other thing?
Yeah, but the numbers were the numbers were skewed. They used electronic voting machines, and Bernie conceded.
I don't think he conceded when they declared Hillary.
Well, he went on for a week or so, but in the end, he was holding fucking Hillary's hand way over his head and saying, "I don't want to hear about no damn emails." So, yeah, he conceded he conceded at the start of the damn thing.
Well, yeah, I'm not disputing that. I'm just saying.
No, you can win. You can wrap up the nomination. Historically, in 2008, Iran McCain went from last place in all the polling to lock up the Republican nomination in late January, early February of 2008. He had already locked it up. He had already won enough fucking votes, electoral college votes, whatever. He won enough delegates to win the fucking nomination. Of course, it's electronic voting machines, and Barack Obama was going to be the guy. And so, of course, they wanted to run Barack Obama against Iran McCain, because the whole country was sick of fucking war. So that's why he was chosen.
Yeah, McCain, the establishment loved McCain, but McCain was not going to convince France to rejoin the NATO military structure.
Mm-hmm. You mean back in 2008?
Well, I'm just saying, I think it was 2009 when France rejoined.
Oh.
And also you had the pink tide in Latin America. I mean, if McCain had been elected, if McCain had become president, the pink tide probably would have grown even stronger.
Yeah.
Whereas Obama helped temper that.
Oh, yeah. Obama helped temper a lot of things, including the Occupy movement. Obama helped temper a lot of things until people, woke up to what Obama was, which is what they have in mind, I guess, for Trump. You know, he's the populist. He's a man of the people. He's never going to drop Pinochet's economic brick on our heads. He doesn't know anything about Project 2025, until people wake up and realize, oh, yeah, this guy's fucking Augusto Pinochet with a comb over. But by the time they wake up and figure it out, it's too late. Besides, he's only got 4 years anyway. So.
Well, this right-wing populism, I have no use for. These are Steve Bannon constructs. Steve Bannon is behind these right-wing populists, meaning not really populist.
Right.
And they're trying to redefine populism. They're trying to make, they try to say that Millet is a populist.
Ah! That's remarkable. Yeah. Yeah, they try to, it's like neoliberal, it's like with neoliberalism, they tried to, they disguised it as libertarianism, make people think it was, you know, anti-establishment when it was purely establishment. It's exactly what the centrists wanted, exactly what the DLC wanted, exactly what the neocons wanted, you know. And they had libertarians, you know, thinking they were being, you know, all, you know, anti-establishment and rebels, when they were calling for the exact same things those dudes were calling for. So they do that with, they redefine fucking anti-Semitism. They redefine terrorism. You know, words have power. Words have meaning. There was I remember 2000, was it 2000, 2009, 2010, after what happened with Tartan bailouts and all that shit, and people coming out saying, yeah, well, maybe we all do work for the bankers, but is that really that bad? I remember I read something from the BBC on the threat of the rise of populism. And they didn't redefine it. They defined it as what populism is. But it was a threat. It was a threat. And I wrote about it multiple times on my website back in the day and talked about it multiple times back in the day. You know, the idea of populism, and Trump was right in 2015 on the campaign trail when he said, don't get mad at the Bernie people. They stand for the same shit we stand for. He was right. That was that wave of populism. But of course, the right-wing populism perverts it, turns it into fascism.
Yeah, Zionists and neocons are behind the right-wing populism.
Right.
I mean, you can see that. Steve Bannon, God.
Yeah.
He's operating internationally. He's in Spain. Viktor Orban is one of his constructs. Yeah.
And speaking of 2015, 2016, compared to now, back then I was a right-wing populist. I was a Trump supporter. And so something I've noticed then compared to now, just recently there's the talk about a new trade war with Mexico, about the debate about tariffs. I mean, when I brought that up back in 2016, I mean, Republicans would hear none of it. Just the suggestion of using tariffs, that was a huge no-no. And even criticizing Mexico at that time, that was a big no-no. But now it's okay to attack Mexico, because ever since AMLO was elected, Mexico has become really populist. They've reversed so much of their neoliberal policies that were decimating the working class. Yeah,
Populism
exactly.
on the left, not the right.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
Right-wing populism isn't authentic. They'll pay lip service to whatever.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, this version of right-wing populism does that, but it still touches on a very powerful feeling in the country, which, by the way, will grow under Donald Trump because there'll be more frustration. You know, but that's why Trump was saying in 2015, 2016, Bernie people, you know, they share the same fucking feelings and the same ideas that we do. The same as the people in the fucking Yellow Vest movement. The same as a lot of the people in the fucking Occupy movement. You know, it's a very real thing. It's a very real emotion. To say, you know, you still have true believers, and I want to get back to you, DoodleBob, in 1 second, but you still have true believers in Donald Trump, thinking that he's going to change the system and go after all these things that have been fucking us over all this time. These are very real, very strongly felt, passionate emotions. And they are legitimate and they are correct. The problem is, again, that same feeling was present in the country in 2007 when they were all expecting all that change. And they didn't get it. And the people, the Trump supporters, are in the same fucking boat. Now, back to DoodleBob. Quick question. So you were a right-wing populist, a young man, back in 2015, 2016. How many of your friends and people who you shared that ideology with, how many have made the transition that you've made? I'm assuming you've made a transition. And how many have decided to cut ties with you because you're no longer on the Trump train, so to speak?
I have not exactly for that reason, but I have lost some friendships, some relationships with family. It's not as good as it used to be, but I mean, the problem is my brothers, they just like, they're not very serious. They just like to gaslight me.
Right.
Like, you don't think Elon's gonna usher in this new, and they say it almost jokingly, but really the issue that really separated me, made me lose a lot of friends, and even to this day, some family members don't want nothing to do with me, was COVID, and the fact that I'm unvaccinated.
Wow.
That
even
yeah.
still, as much as come out over the vaccines all this time.
Oh yeah.
Wow. You know, I've said before, when they come out with the next one, and they will come out with the next one, these people who have had to be quiet, the ones who were angry, the ones who were yelling at their neighbors and yelling at their fucking former friends in the shopping center because their 3-year-old kid isn't wearing a goddamn mask and think they're going to kill Granny. These people who had to shut up because, you know, turns out all this shit we were told was all bullshit. It was all wrong, and it was detrimental. They have to bite their tongue. They have to bite their lips and not say anything. But as soon as the next one comes along, they're going to be 10 times worse. You get the same feeling?
Yeah, all this is not over. I was just reading an article yesterday. There was a local public health official who was fired for not getting vaccinated for on the ground religious reasons. They didn't accept that, and he was fired.
This is in Canada.
So he could not collect employment insurance, and they just ruled against him again.
There's a guy who's just been nominated by Donald Trump to head the
NIH.
The NIH, right. And the news thing I saw, the quick news thing I saw on, I think it was NBC or CBS or something, was, oh my God, this guy was talking about herd immunity back in the day, and was saying that lockdowns didn't work. Remember when I covered this, when they said it the first time, they were like, herd immunity doesn't exist. There's no such thing as herd immunity. Because they wanted everyone to grab those fucking jabs. And I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck are you saying? Turns out, of course, herd immunity is part of developing a total or civil or community immunity to the point where we can, rest easy again and open up the country. They themselves contradicted that shit a year later. And yet, they're still saying the same old, tired bullshit about this guy, this new person
Jay
called NIH.
Bhattacharya. He's
Bhattacharya,
from
that's his
India.
name. That's his name, Bhattacharya.
And
Thank
he
you.
is not
Jay
just, he's a
Bhattacharya.
medical doctor and economist.
Oh, of course, they're always an economist. They're always an
And
economist.
he is like a fellow with the Brownstone Institute, Jeffrey Tucker's libertarian psyop, to privatize everything. Yeah, Jay
Yeah.
Bhattacharya.
Yeah.
And he blames China for COVID. So there you go.
There you
That's
go.
Jay Bhattacharya.
But look at what they fucking harped on. Look at what they harped on. Did they harp on?
Yeah, I
did they
know.
did they harp on that in the news thing? The brief on him? No. They didn't mention any of that. They just said, "Oh my God, the guy talked about herd immunity once. Oh my God, what a fruitcake he is." Really? And this is after the mainstream media finally said, "Oh yeah, herd immunity does exist. Oh yeah, people will get sick from COVID, and then they'll develop their own natural antibodies." Which is what vaccines used to
and
do.
they pointed out in Sweden, and I made a video about this. They did this in Sweden. So there's this one of these China sexpats. I forget his name now. I made a video about him, and he made a video shitting all over Sweden for not locking down and praising China,
Yeah.
which didn't lock down. They had restrictions. They didn't have like Western lockdowns.
No.
And yeah, so Jay Bhattacharya. Oh, not this is not a. I mentioned to you they're, the local Palestinian NGOs. So they're having an event this coming Saturday at a queer South Asian bookstore in a Vancouver suburb where masks are mandatory for the event.
Wow.
So these Palestinian groups, I really like, yeah, masks are mandatory.
Trotskyites.
Trotskyites.
No, they're not even that. No, these are. Well, I realize they're anarchists. They're not even Trotskyites. They're just anarchists. So they say, "Oh, well, Palestine doesn't need a state. States are bad." Like, what?
So I mean, I guess to get back to your point, DoodleBob, and AuntBB, they're not done with this stupid shit yet, and they're still holding people. I heard somebody was doing a live chat and was talking to members of the audience, and some lady out there was talking about, we're talking about Gaza and October the 7th, and of course the mass systemic rapes thing came out, and the babies in ovens and babies being beheaded. And she just mentioned a baby beheaded and baby in the ovens, and he started getting into it. And then, of course, when she was getting more worked up, it was, and they beheaded all these babies. This propaganda doesn't fucking go away. They lock it back in their head someplace, even though they know the cognitive dissonance. They know it's not true, but still they want to hold on to it. Still they want to use it to smear people, even though it's obvious, especially with this guy with the herd immunity thing. He was right talking about herd immunity back in the fucking day, early on. Everyone knows he was right, but they're still going to say, "Oh my God, he was talking about herd immunity early in the process. Oh my God."
Oh yeah, and all the Trumpites are celebrating this one appointment. Oh great, yeah, okay.
Yeah, because he was on the right side of COVID. But then again, so was JFK
Well,
Jr.
except that he says China. Fauci manufactured it in China.
So
China
was
involved.
RFK
Yes.
Jr. He was also on the
Yes,
right side
yes.
of COVID, but he said that China manufactured it with the Ashkenazi Jews so that the Jews and the fucking Chinese couldn't catch it. He also said that the IDF doesn't kill civilians. But we got to love RFK Jr. because he was on the right side of COVID. What? No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, all these people, like Jay Bhattacharya is a limited hangout. Yeah, he's right about herd immunity. Sure.
Oh, wait a minute. There's a request. Oh, my God. Why didn't you guys tell me that somebody requested? Nate! Hi, Nate.
We are not. We are not hosts. We can't see it.
Oh, I'm bet Scott can't stream. Okay, I approved Nate to speak. I don't know if he's still there. Aha, Nate.
Hey, Nate.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still
Yeah.
here. I actually wanted to jump in. You guys had gone a little bit past where I wanted to say something, but I wanted to jump in on the Aunt BB had said something about the religious exemption type of stuff in passing about the COVID thing, and I got a real problem with that in general because if it's based off of some sort of like a belief system that it provides you with this acceptable exemption. I mean, everybody has belief systems. What if you're a non-religious type of individual? What is it that puts your belief systems down from a person that's part of some sort of an organized religion?
Is that meshing church and state too much?
I think it's meshing a lot of things, and I mean, you can go in a lot of different directions, but just from a basic standpoint, it diminishes an individual like myself who is not religious and my beliefs on a subject. And even though I may be like more educated than, let's say, a person that just uses the religious exemption as a reason.
How many different religions that we know of claim the religious exemption? Mennonites did.
Amish, yes. Amish are famous for that, yeah. I don't know about Mennonites. It depends. Mennonites is kind of an umbrella group.
Oh,
so
yeah. So
yeah, but Amish for sure.
Amish
Yeah,
definitely,
they're
yes. Do you have a
I
specific, Nate, are you talking about?
Well, it's more kind of like a general thing. I mean, I saw
Okay.
a lot of, Catholic and Christian sort of centered approaches from different people to it.
Right.
But I think that, recently, I don't know if you guys had seen some woman that worked for a company that was affiliated with some sort of a Blue Cross Blue Shield type of deal.
Uh-huh.
She supposedly won a lawsuit that was like worth something like $13.5 million. And it's like you kind of got to look at like what is the message that they're sending out by announcing that this woman won this huge chunk of money based off of her company firing her over her religious refusal to take the vaccine.
Were there some like hardcore fundamentalist Christian groups that had that position? Like
I'm
the
not sure.
Pentecostals and things like that. I mean, people who believe that if it's
Christian
not
scientists probably.
if it's not in the Bible, they're not going to put it in their bodies, right?
I think that a lot of people, like establishments, were apprehensive or trepidatious to going out and taking a certain stance, because
Officially,
it was
yeah.
officially right.
But
So they left it up to the individuals to fight their fights.
if I remember correctly, then there were I remember obviously the Amish, but people they that was across the board. But to your point, if I remember correctly, the majority of the people who were individuals saying it was against their religion were usually Christian fundamentalists. And I don't
Right.
want to say Pentecostals, but they were usually Christian fundamentalists who also didn't vaccinate their children. Some didn't even believe in modern day medicine. If they wouldn't take their kids to doctors and things like that. They had their own practices. So what is so there was a lawsuit. Somebody got $13 million. In what state? Do you remember?
No, I don't. I'm gonna have to find it. It was in the mass swamp that Twitter is, with all the information that comes through on a weekly basis. But I can go back and find it at some point and send it over to you.
Yeah, please, because that's interesting.
Well, this public health official locally, what the ruling was that he was fired because of his behavior in refusing the vaccines. Now, the vaccines here, I have to clarify, you either had Moderna or Pfizer. They were all the big pharma mRNA.
Yeah.
That was the choice. And they fired thousands of health workers here, doctors and nurses, and the system has been suffering ever since. Yeah.
Well, it
So they
happened
really-
across the board in Canada and across the United States. But the question is, why would a jury find in favor of somebody because of their their religious affiliation, their religious beliefs, but not per se, I hate that word, but not necessarily somebody who's educated, because
Right.
and they didn't want to take it because of their what's the term I'm looking for? You have to sign away your rights.
Conviction.
Conviction's one word. The other one is their own research, or
Didn't they find
Yeah.
didn't they find that the people who tended to refuse the vaccines were highly educated people? I think that was, I mean, I don't know. There were a lot of well-educated, well-informed people. who
Except
didn't
all the
want it.
doctors that were encouraging people to get it.
Well, that's because they were given bonuses and
Right.
all kinds of incentives. Yeah.
I'll
you're
tell you
right,
I'll
yeah.
tell you the biggest bonus, the biggest incentive they were given, is the fact that they were doctors. People were losing their licenses to practice medicine if you did not push it. If you said certain things, and you lost your license to be a nurse or a nurse practitioner, like you said, people were fired.
Yeah, I didn't see my doctor
And that
for
would ruin their
a
careers.
couple of years. Yeah, I just did not see my doctor for a couple of years there because of the lockdowns and everything. When I finally went back to see her in the autumn of 2021, the first thing she pushed was vaccines,
Yeah.
and not just the COVID ones.
Yeah, that's
And
actually interesting.
she had never done that before. Talked about vaccines with me, never.
Now, I had seen that one of the local places where I live was pushing the pneumonia vaccine all of a sudden,
That's right. Yes,
Yeah.
that's
So-
right.
Yeah.
The pneumonia. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shingles, pneumonia, shingles, flu. So the
Right.
signs up here are flu and COVID. Get your vaccine. Yeah, but you're right. Shingles is a big one. Pneumonia.
So you wonder, maybe they're bundling some things together because people are more trusting of things that they're more familiar with pre-coronavirus in terms of vaccination routines and things like that.
Well, last year the first year they came out with the mRNA jab that was for both COVID-19
flu.
and the flu, right?
Yeah.
And they could do that because it didn't have an effect on either one of them. They might as well have tossed in cancer.
I
and-
suspect those are
stupidity.
mRNA now, the shingles and pneumonia vaccines. I mean, I don't know. I suspect.
But
I
I
think
guess
they're Pfizer. Yeah, I remember.
I guess to my original concern is that for whatever motivation somebody may have proclaimed that they were not taking it because of a religious stance, they may have just decided that was a possible effective way to avoid losing their job and not getting vaccinated.
Well, you have that, yes.
But I mean, who is the who? Then you have to have somebody that determines if a person's
Nate.
conviction is of a certain level.
Nate, to address your point, my mother has been deep on this issue for many years, long before COVID. I know in the laws, in terms of exemptions from vaccine requirements, there were religious exemptions. There are also philosophical exemptions, and I really didn't hear much about philosophical exemptions during COVID, during the COVID vaccine rollout. And that was a big debate years ago. I think California, they banned philosophical exemptions, but they still allowed religious exemptions.
I remember that, yes.
And-
yes.
Yeah. So I guess to your point, that's kind of where the division of what you're talking about should be. But you're right. I never really heard philosophical exemption being brought up.
Let's get
No,
back to
there's
let's
during
get back
COVID
to
as well.
let's get back to religious exemption. Let me just hit you with this real quick. I have two things to toss out there, and you guys can chew on them. One is we have the right freedom of religion in this country, and the freedom to practice religion in any way, shape, or form. So then that becomes we don't have a right to practice our philosophical beliefs. We have right to free speech and assembly and to petition the government and things like that. We don't have a right to philosophical beliefs, but we do have a right to our religion. If somebody truly, honestly believes that Satan is in that fucking syringe and you're not going to put Satan in my kid, then the question is, and this has been brought before Supreme Courts before, at what point does the state have to step in and say, stop it, it's a polio vaccine, stop it, your kid's got a problem, we can fix the problem, or the kid's going to die on the fucking floor, the dirt floor. I shouldn't say dirt floor because that preassumes a social position in the structure, and I apologize for that. But you know what I'm saying.
You're insulting the Beverly Hillbillies.
Beverly Hillbillies. But you understand my point. So there's that, and you can chew on that in a second. But I want to toss this out there too. And this is more of a social structure issue, or maybe an explanation. The philosophical resistor preassumes that he knows something you don't. So he's not going to be supported no matter what by any jury, because fuck you, you're not smarter than me. The religious objector, albeit zealot perhaps, still in a country with a large percentage of them believing in some form of religion, they would have some kind of respect for that individual, and maybe even to the point where they say, that person's kind of being martyred here. That person's being crucified on the cross for their religious beliefs. So yeah, I'm gonna rule in their favor in a jury. Okay, so you have two different things. One is the constitutional answer to your question, Nate. The other is a societal one. But I believe they both kind of maybe factor in, if that answers your question. And please, you guys, just chew on those for a second and see if I'm an idiot, I'm an idiot. There you go.
Well, it answers the question from, I guess, more of like a legal perspective, but it doesn't solve the problem.
Well, the problem is, if you're saying that you know more than they do, then of course they're going to get pissed off at you and say, fuck you, because what it used to be in this country back in the 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s, that education was revered. It was something to be attained. It was something to be respected. But as of the Reagan Revolution, it's kind of gone in the opposite direction, hasn't it? Oh, you're an egghead. What do you do? What are you doing there, boy? I'm reading a book. Why? You see what I'm saying? That's even in a vernacular and in stand-up comedy routines. It's not something that's revered anymore. It's something that's, oh, he's an egghead. He's this. He's that.
He's a boomer. She's a boomer.
Well,
yeah, I haven't it.
Right.
I got a decent education.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying, Nate? Does that make sense?
Yeah, and it's not even as much about knowing more, or than the next person, as much as it is how do you compare the two positions in life and elevate one over the other as being more legitimate.
Because I just told you.
No, I know you told me from a legal perspective.
No. I told you from a societal perspective. You're looking at it logically from your point of view. I'm looking at it from theirs. Theirs is one person. Right, exactly. We're being dumbed down on purpose. We're being taught that being educated is a bad thing. Don't do your own research, they said.
Yeah, I don't know how many times
they told us not to do our own research. Right.
Yeah, you're a know-it-all.
Don't do your own research. You're not a doctor. Just shut up and take the thing and listen to what they say, because you haven't got the capabilities. You're looking at it as a person from your point of view because you are educated and you don't mean to come across that way. But I'm telling you, maybe part of the problem is they don't see it that way. They look at one person who refuses because of their own research, and they look at another person who refuses because of their religious beliefs. They will lionize one and demonize the other.
Yeah, and it doesn't even matter if you're a doctor, because then if you're not an epidemiologist, you know,
Right.
even if you are a doctor, they'll say, well, you're not an epidemiologist. You're not an infectious disease expert.
Right.
There's multiple levels of them saying that you're not qualified enough to make some sort of a judgment or have an opinion.
Right. Right. But especially if you're not. And that's the whole thing. What is the fucking term that what is the term that I'm looking for? That you have to sign a waiver when you get the fucking shot and say that you were given what?
Liability.
No, not liability.
It's a disclaimer. It's a disclaimer.
It's a disclaimer, but there's a specific phrase I'm looking for. Meaning that it was explained to you, you have the information, informed consent.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Right. And people who actually did the work and became informed, the ones who said, I'm not going to consent, they were demonized. But the ones who did no work and just said, I'm not going to give my consent because God, they were lionized. And Nate makes a good point. This is like 180 degrees from where it really should be. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I always was able to explain to people here why I didn't want the shots. I said, because Big Pharma producing these shots is not being regulated anymore. So you don't know that they're safe.
And as soon as it became political, you knew that there was a problem.
Well, they made it political.
They made it political, and,
Yes.
and how in the world are you going to rely on the information that you're getting that's been politicized at that point?
I lost so many during COVID. I lost so many people because I've always been on the left, and even when I was calling out Barack Obama in 2007 and 2011, and certainly Joe Biden, I still maintained people. Never really said oh, you're a fucking alt-right dude until COVID. Even when I was, and I was well known for being a 9/11 truth advocate. Even that wasn't necessarily politicized to the point where, oh, you're a Trump supporter if you're an alt-righter, you're a Steve Bannon guy if you don't want to take a fucking
Oh
shot.
yeah, I was often called a Trump supporter for questioning the 2016 elections, and oh, you want Trump? You're a Trump supporter? And I said, no, I believe in fair elections.
Yeah, it was immediately politicized. They used any kind of weapon, any kind of influence they could to jam that fucking syringe in your arm. But that came from. Do you remember when I talked about the Sage Group in the United Kingdom, and they came out with that early 2020. That was their recommendation. We can't, because of our own constitution, we can't force them to do it. So what we can do is use our influence to have people around them force them to do it and have corporations force them to do it. So that's what they did. And it was a hard campaign. People forget. I mean, I know I forget. It was some dark times back then for all of us.
Bad. I will never forget that. Yeah, they had the vaccine card here. So Jake and I could not go to museums, art galleries, and he loves art, movie theaters, dine out at restaurants. No, not allowed.
So does that get to what you were asking about, Nate?
Yeah, I think pretty much. I mean, there's a lot of nuances to it, but, I think it pretty much sums it up. I'm actually going to have to head out, guys, but I just wanted to stop in and...
It's nice to hear your voice. You have a nice voice.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
Nice to
I've been
hear you,
listening to
Nate.
you guys for years, so... But you guys hadn't heard me.
Well, certainly. Hopefully, we'll be doing this kind of stuff on YouTube, but at this rate, it'll be another 60 or so days before I get enough people. So that's okay. We'll do some more of these Twitter things, and it's nice to hear from you, Nate. I appreciate you talking.
Thanks a lot, guys. I hope you guys have a good holiday tomorrow for those that are celebrating and whatnot.
Happy Thanksgiving.
You
man.
too.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving. Take care.
Bye.
So we're not going to get to the 9. Wait a minute, Danny, hang on a second. We got another one. Hang on, I just Daniel Predipta is I think I just approved him to chat. Are you
Hello,
there?
Scott.
Hello.
Hello, Scott. Yeah. How are you, Scott?
I'm doing well. How you doing, Daniel?
I'm doing really well.
Good.
Okay. I just want to ask you one question, Scott. So, do you think right now is a plausible time for Netanyahu to accept the Palestinian state, given the increasing uncertainty in Lebanon and Gaza?
Do I think it's possible for him to do it? Absolutely. Do I think he will? Hell no. He can't. He can't. His support is coming from one faction and one faction only, and that's the Messianic Zionists and the financial sectors that have vested interest, all of them for one reason or another, in the greater Israel project. And if he accepts that there is a Palestinian state and agrees to recognize said Palestinian state, that means all the settlers have to leave West Bank. That means they have to stop doing what they're doing to Gaza. And that puts an end to the notion that Israel is a borderless state. Israel believes that they have never recognized their own borders officially because they want more and more and more. That's the absolute wrong thing for him to do for his support. Once he loses that support, they're going to demand in the country immediate elections, and they're going to hold them. And Likud will lose. He will be out of power. He will face charges that are pending still for corruption and bribery and other things in Israel. So he had thought about, if he ever thought about doing that, he could easily leave Israel and go to some other state someplace. But now with the ICC, he really is a man with no place to go. There's a few little states and places where he could go and maybe, avoid capture. Possibly Miami with his son, until said time when the politics in the United States transitions to the next leader, and maybe that's not a safe place for him anymore. So he can't. He's a man he has one option. He has dug himself so deep into a hole, Daniel. He's in one of these positions where sometimes when you find yourself deep in a hole, the only way out is to keep digging.
That's pity. I mean, if you look right now, I think I got the same vibe as you. The opinion on the Lebanese ceasefire. I think I'm a bit mixed because in one side, Hezbollah breaks rather a bit breaking from their promise to be committed to support Gaza till Israel ended its genocide. But at the same time, the civilians are now returning back to their homes, so a bit more stable, and yeah, the killings are stopped for a while right now. That is the good side.
That is
and
the
the
good
bad
side.
side at the same time.
And the bad side is Hamas is further isolated, and the Zionists and their apologists and collaborators in the United States and the State Department can point to it and say, see, here's a victory for us and for Israel, because now Hamas is isolated and Hamas will feel like nobody in the world supports them. Yes. So it's a blessing in some ways for the people of Lebanon, because the IDF and Israel have no problem targeting civilians, and the United States has no problem giving them the weapons to target civilians. So it's a blessing that that's going to stop temporarily, but it's not a blessing in terms of the targeting of the civilians in Gaza.
Yeah, but if you know Yemen, if you must not forget Yemen, because
Yes.
right now I think Yemen has not yet stopped. I mean, yeah, maybe in the past few days there are several strikes from Yemen to the Zionist entity, but right now they are not stopping. The Yemenis are not stopping yet.
The Yemenis
So
are
I
not
think
stopping. The
are not stopping.
Iraqi resistance is not stopping. The
Yeah,
Iranians are
yeah.
not stopping
Yeah.
because they haven't experienced Israel using U.S. weapons on their civilians. And
Yeah.
God help them. God help Israel if they do that to fucking Tehran.
Yeah.
You know, it's one thing to blow up somebody like a nuclear scientist someplace every now and then with a car bomb. It's another to take out 8-story fucking apartment buildings and kill a number of civilians. That's an act of
Yeah,
war, and the
that-
Iranians will not tolerate that shit.
That's gruesome, by the way. But if you remember, the Yemenis now do possess hypersonic capability,
Yes.
hypersonic weapons. So it's a fast and agile weapons that can evade detection. I mean, Yemen is only one of few countries that has developed hypersonic. I think Israel, United States, still not yet close to hypersonic capability. So I think Yemen is above Israel. Now you see the contradiction, right?
Yeah, but Israel has 200 nukes.
Yeah.
There's that. There is that. If you want to, that's the ultimate equalizer. There, they have 200 nukes.
Yeah, but I think it's also possible if Israel is also using tactical nukes, you could consider that in Gaza. I mean, they necessarily do not need to be a powerful nuke like in Hiroshima, but they can obliterate the buildings and killing civilians indiscriminately.
Well, the problem with that in Gaza is it leaves the land unoccupiable for, 5-10 years, and they don't want that. They want the land because they want to put resorts on it. It also depends on where's the fallout going to go, depending on which way the wind is blowing. Literally, they would never use nukes in Gaza. They would never use nukes in Gaza. In all likelihood, they would never use nukes on
West
Iran,
Bank.
either on Iran. Of course, they wouldn't use it in
On
West
Iran.
Bank, but they would never use it
Yeah.
on Iran because once you launch one of those things, the deal is you'll see a lot more of them flying through the air. And Israel is a small country.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, one nuke the size that they are these days, and Israel is gone. Just gone. You'll have some stuff
Not
down
just
in
Israel.
the south, but that's it.
Palestine too. That's the dangers of using nuclear because Israel sits on Palestine. That is why.
Right. I'm just saying, but the threat of nukes is that you are afraid of messing with a country because they have them. It's like Cuba. It's like Cuba when Cuba had them, and Fidel was down there, and JFK contacted was it Khrushchev, and he said, okay, well he's got them, but I mean he can't use them, right? And Khrushchev said, no, he's got a general. The general's got the codes. If you put one U.S. boot on Cuban soil, he will fucking launch. And JFK said, okay, we're going to stop the Cuban Missile Crisis right here, right now. That's when it stopped. That's the power of those things. That's the power of them. And of course, Robert McNamara was talking to, was it Castro, on stage once, and they were having a discussion about that. And Robert McNamara, who was his Secretary of Defense at the time, JFK's, said, "Yeah, but you wouldn't have used him." And he flipped out when Castro looked at him across the table and said, "Of course I would." And McNamara said, "You got to be crazy. We would turn all of Cuba into glass." And Fidel said, "Yes, but I would rather do that to my country than let you enslave them. Wouldn't you?" And it flipped out Robert McNamara so much, according to his book, Fog of War. he had to get up and leave. He had to stop the talk for a little while because it just flipped him out. He had never realized just how fucking close they were because the U.S. warmongers was saying, fuck it. He's only got a few. He would have taken out Miami. He would have taken out Tampa. He would have taken out Atlanta. And there'd have been nothing we could do about it except wipe out fucking Cuba. That's how close we were. That's how close we were.
Yeah.
And if it hadn't been for Khrushchev telling him he's got the goddamn codes, he'll use them. That's the thing. I mean, that's why you don't dare fuck with the United States or, in some cases, in some ways, with Israel. You know, I've asked
There is
before.
no win-win.
There's-
No win-win.
Right,
No win-win.
right,
Mm.
right. As long as you have the biggest fucking stick on the block, that's all you need to do is have it. You don't necessarily need to whip it out and use it, as long as everyone knows you are willing to use it. And Castro was, and that's what flipped him out.
Do you think I mean there are so many talks about nuclear. I mean yeah, it must be prevented at all costs. But do you think the threat is now it's close to another potential nuclear warfare? I mean, look at Ukraine. I mean,
No,
last week,
no.
no.
Listen, we were closer to midnight on the doomsday clock. We were closer to midnight with the Cuban Missile Crisis. You know, than we are today. I don't. What I'm afraid of though is full-on fucking conventional warfare between the United States and a couple of bullshit countries like Palau, maybe, and against Russia, China, Iran, Venezuela, India, Pakistan. That concerns me more than anything else. Or even a full-on economic war, where they just all say, you know what, we're not dealing with you anymore, we're not dealing with you anymore, we're not going to send you anything, we don't want your trade anymore. Just a full-on, and if Donald Trump gets what he wants and imposes all of these trade restrictions and 1,000% tariff on cars coming in from Mexico, he's just begging for it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think Nate mentioned this before, talking about the Republicans who are behind some of this stuff with the tariffs and shit, the Trump tariffs. They're not really behind it, because even the Republican think tanks are like, that would crush the economy. That would literally crush our economy.
Oh yeah, Scott. I already follow your Blue Sky account.
Oh, good.
And your Substack.
Maybe
you can.
I refollowed you. When we were starting off this video, this talk. I pulled up Blue Sky while we were talking, and I saw that you had followed me, and I followed you back. So, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
One more thing, Scott.
Yeah.
Can I ask? Yeah, I think I need your apologies from last year. You were talking about me. You were a bit insulting me about a word, something like Danny Boy, like that. No, I think I'm also a bit apologize to you as well for a bit rude to you as well. Yeah, last year.
For what?
I mean,
I can't.
no. I mean about Whitney Webb like that. I was a bit. Last year I was a bit. Last year I was a bit puzzled on Whitney Webb like that. So right now I'm already in a better shape.
I think I'm owed an apology.
Here
from
we
Daniel.
go.
Okay.
I'll just say that.
You opened up a can of worms, Daniel. See?
That's fine. I need to be honest. That's fine. So how's the deal, by the way?
Who are you talking to, me or her?
I think both. I think we need to be. I think it's time for us to be upright. I think.
To be what?
I
didn't understand what you said.
No. Sorry. I think I owe BB Olson. I IOBB. I mean,
Apology?
yeah.
Oh,
I think
That's
that
convincing.
yeah.
listen.
So yeah.
What-
So how's the deal? Mm.
I don't understand how
So-
how the deal means. Here's the thing. Here's the thing, Daniel. Nobody owes me an apology. People say things in political discourse and they get upset. The other day I was talking to somebody, a woman who's a very big Trump supporter, and she kept saying things like "y'all this" and "y'all that," and she was explaining to me how election machines are rigged. And I'm like, dude, you're talking to the wrong dude. And I pulled up some stuff on my phone. And I said, look at that. I've been talking about rigged election machines since 2007, babe. Where were you back then? She goes, oh, in the end, she realized that we have more things in common than we do not have in common. She wanted to give me an apology, and I said, no. Being passionate does not, you never have to apologize for being passionate. Okay? Never.
You have to apologize for smear campaigns, though.
Some people, of course, have a different opinion than mine.
Yeah.
But there you go.
Yes.
You
I
guys,
don't think there was a smear campaign against you, Scott.
there's been smear campaigns against me for years. Dude.
No, from
Decades
Daniel.
now. Decades
I'm talking
now.
about Daniel.
Okay.
Daniel.
No, I haven't smeared Scott, by the way, at all. Yeah.
I guess what
All right, Scott.
AuntBB is saying is she wants an apology.
Apologies.
I've
from
dealt
me.
with abusive men before, so I know
Oh.
what I'm talking about.
Honestly, I'm interested with your Twitter space, by the way.
Well, good. We'll be doing it next
Yeah.
week, Thursday, I think. I think we just did it earlier today because of Thanksgiving, but yeah, Thursday.
So what's I going to do tomorrow, Thanksgiving? Oh, by the way, belated Thanksgiving maybe for you. I think yeah.
Yeah, it's tomorrow, yes, but thank you.
Yeah, belated Thanksgiving. Okay, all right then. Thank you, Scott. See you next week.
All right, thank you,
Thank
Daniel.
you.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. So you didn't get your apology, AuntBB.
No, I didn't. I like that, how he kind of, and then I think, or like, okay, he doesn't even know. Like, he gave me an ultimatum. You either start shitting on China or you're not my friend anymore. Like, what? Yeah. And then he starts starting a smear campaign by DMs with all these fake communists because he thinks he's such a radical revolutionary. So that's why I don't buy his bullshit. And no, that's not an apology.
Well, okay.
No.
I didn't want to say anything while he was here because I always had the feeling he was using me to steal content, something like that.
What?
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 Steal what?
I thought he would steal content from me.
Oh, content.
I felt like, yeah.
Yeah, he does that. Like I can see, because you can see block accounts that have blocked you now. I laugh at like he'll say stuff that he's gotten from me, and I just laugh. He thinks he's a communist, and he hangs out with all these intel operations on Twitter, and it's just like, and his English has gotten worse. I'm sorry to say, his English is so broken up.
Yeah.
It's just,
Because you guys
his
used to
English
talk,
used
right?
to be a lot better.
You guys used to talk, right?
Yes, yes. But he sent me this message in late 2022. If you don't start shitting on China for locking down, you're not my friend anymore. I'm going, what?
Listen,
And when I refused to do that,
Listen. I get the feeling. If you don't accept his apology, I didn't hear him
there
offer
was no
one.
apology.
I didn't hear him
There was
offer
no-
one. If you let me finish, I didn't hear him offer one.
Yeah.
That's well and good. That's your thing. But we're sitting here talking with DoodleBob, who, by his own accounting, What were you again in 2005, 2015, DoodleBob? Hello?
Well, it was 2016 was my first election,
Right.
and I was a Trump supporter.
Right. So I mean, people change, you know. People.
Yeah, well, for DoodleBob, for the better. For Daniel, for the worse.
Well, I think he brought that up at the end because I think he was kind of trying to insinuate that he's maybe making a change. I don't know. I don't know.
I haven't seen it. He's gotten worse.
I
'Cause I know that I
haven't.
can
The
see-
only time I see him or his stuff, I don't spend any time on Twitter. The only time I see anything of his stuff is when he's talking on this. And I think he didn't he speak once about 4 weeks ago on one of our first
No.
ones? Yes, he
No.
did. Yes, he did. I remember him talking. I remember.
Oh, I told DoodleBob he's only allowed to do that because I'm not a host. If I were a host, he wouldn't be able to speak. So when he's spoken, when he's come on, it's because I'm not a host at the time.
Are you telling me you would censor him?
No, I'm saying that this
No,
is how
no.
Twitter.
It's because if you're hosting or co-hosting,
And he,
people
if he
you block
because he's
can't,
blocked
can't
me.
enter.
He's blocked me. That's why.
Yeah.
Oh, he's
Yeah.
so he wouldn't be
Yeah.
able to come on here and listen to
No.
this if you were hosting or co-hosting. He wouldn't be able to listen to it.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, that's
Or no, he could listen, I think, but he couldn't speak. I can't remember. I don't know. I don't know.
Could he
how-
listen? DoodleBob, could he listen?
I can't. I don't know. I can't remember.
I'm
how it
asking
works.
DoodleBob. He used to do these.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No. So that might be why we only have like 8 or 9 people listening, because AuntBB's blocked all these people.
Because he's blocked me. No, you're not getting that. No, I
he
didn't
blocked
block.
you.
No, I
Oh,
did
okay.
block Daniel. I did block
Oh,
him.
yeah,
after
you
he
blocked him.
me.
Right.
Yeah, I did.
Right.
After he blocked me. Yeah, because I realized he was stealing my crap, and he was spreading the smear campaign against with a lot of the same accounts. Remember that went after me.
Yeah.
With, remember
Listen,
that-
I
that
remember,
other time?
I remember
See?
Daniel. I'm not brain dead. I remember him. I've been around.
No, he's hanging. He still does hangs out with these fake communist accounts that went after me
You
before.
keep saying the same thing. We've heard the fake communist comment before. We haven't got to mention it 3 or 4 times.
Oh well, he loves to shit on the bricks. You know, he just shits on everything. There is no. He doesn't talk
It's
about
true.
solutions. He does. He
I
just
remember.
shits on bricks.
I remember he said that the name bricks that's called that because of the brick, the Chicago boys, the brick.
The economic brick.
That's why it's called.
He said that. Oh shit! Did he? I haven't
Yeah,
seen
yes,
that.
he said
Oh,
that.
shit. Oh, what an idiot. He's a fucking moron too. He's just a fucking. And he's into the war porn. You know, he'll talk about weaponry and everything. Yeah, he's into the war porn.
There was a
Armchair warrior.
there's a guy. Fuck, what is his name? Shit. Cobra JFS. He's a lolcow, and he's dumb as a rock. But he was all up on his high horse because all of these women are in the 4B movement or something. And he's like, listen here, girls. He says, and he supposedly is all supportive of women's rights and all this. And he's talking down to all these women like, let us men figure these things out. You ain't got to worry about these things just because you hate Trump and blah, blah, blah. But then he goes, and this whole thing started, he knows this because someone mentioned this in one video he saw. And he's got to react to it because he's trying to jump on the Trump train. It's so stupid. He goes, this whole thing started in South Korea. And oh my God, women's rights in South Korea. You know, you're doing the 4B thing now, you women in America, and you should be happy you're in America because at least a woman can run for president in America. They can't run for president. They don't even vote in South Korea. I was like, holy shit, man. The ignorance is deep out here, but it's funny. It's funny. I had to leave him a little comment while he was yelling that shit. I said, from 2017 to 2019 or 2016 to 2019, South Korea had a woman president, right? They just elected in 2022. They have elections in South Korea. You understand that, right? The fucking ignorance is funny. It's enjoyable sometimes. I laugh at it. But it's prevalent. There's a lot of it out there. That's why we got to do what we do.
Yeah, I'm just done with these armchair revolutionaries like Daniel. Jesus Christ. God.
You can be done with him again next week. I'm sure he'll show back up and you can have a little chat with him. You guys can work it out.
Oh, I think, I suspect he knows he fucked up.
That's what he said. You suspect that? He just said that.
No, he didn't. He just
He did say that.
That's not an apology until he actually explains what he did.
You'll have a chance to explain to express that point of view to him next week. And for all of you viewers who are still with us, I don't think there are any more, you can tune in next week to see that on the.
I don't know how many times Daniel was wrong about things, and I would just explain them to him. He'd go, "Oh, okay, I didn't know that."
Yeah, there you go.
But not that time, because he was so right about China locking down. As the color revolution kicked off.
Yeah, the thing that really annoys me, I mean, he holds that over my head that I used to be a right-wing populist and all. And yeah, I admit that. But he doesn't like me bringing up how wrong he was about COVID in 2020.
Oh, he criticized Sweden for not locking down.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a Twitter post about that. He
So
was criticizing countries that did not lock down.
Are you still in communication with him, DoodleBob?
No, I just remember.
Oh, okay. Because you said he criticizes as a
And Daniel
tense.
had the luxury of getting the Chinese vaccine so he could travel to Australia because Australia recognized the Chinese COVID vaccines.
I remember that now. Yeah.
He got two shots.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's a hypocrite, criticizing us, but he had the luxury of the Chinese vaccines.
Yeah.
And then he starts shitting on China. Like, what the fuck is wrong with him? What the fuck is wrong with him?
Well, okay. So are we down to like 0 listeners? I think we are. It's just the 3 of us. Yes, it is.
I think this is a problem, and I'm sorry, DoodleBob. There are too many young men that kind of flip on me, so I'm very wary of young men. I'm just gonna say they flip out. They flip on me.
Maybe I'm the only gay autistic one. So
maybe that's your salvation. I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
That's your plot armor. Your kryptonite.
That wasn't so. Daniel once he tracked down exactly where I lived. I told him, that's kind of creepy. Right? And he was doing that with Nora and her mother, Nick.
Okay. This is a political thing. It's not a fucking shit on Daniel fucking thing. So, that's about enough of that. Okay, 2 hours and 10 minutes in. I think we've pretty much talked about everything we can talk about. Unless you guys have something that you brought to the discussion you wanted to bring up before we go.
Judaism is a religion, not an ethnicity or race. I don't know how many times I have to say that on Twitter to people. Jesus Christ.
Hava, Nagila, Hava, Nagila, Hava.
I prefer this
Nagila,
one.
It's a religion. It's a fucking religion.
I prefer this one.
God.
If I were a rich man. La, la, la,
Hey, did you know it was a
la,
Zionist who
la,
wrote
la,
that?
la, la.
That story.
All day long I'd teetle, teetle, tum, tum. If I were a wealthy man, I wouldn't have to work hard. Anyway, that's my favorite.
It's a religion.
It's a religion. Okay.
Anyway.
So I guess that's that for this week's Twitter Spaces. I hope you too. I don't know if you guys, DoodleBob, do you celebrate Thanksgiving?
I do.
Good.
I'm heading over to my sister-in-law's family tomorrow.
Good. Aunt BB, you in Canada? Are you still going to do it?
I celebrate 2 Thanksgivings here. Canadian was last month. U.S. is tomorrow.
Oh, good. And you're making pot roast?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I already cut into the pumpkin pie.
But that's okay because it's a Costco pumpkin pie and it's like 16 pounds, right? It's huge.
They're big.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Well, I hope you guys have a very, very, very good Thanksgiving, both of you. And anybody watching.
You too.
You too, Scott.
I
You
will.
too, Scott.
Thank you. I will post this up tomorrow morning. First thing. It's a 2-hour and 10-minute thing, so it'll take a
I
little
know,
while. But it'll be good for Thanksgiving. It'll be a good little Thanksgiving treat for people watching. I guess they can.
I hope
eat
Daniel listens to the end.
something tells me he probably will. But there you go.
No, I don't think he would. No.
And I want to thank everybody. I want to thank everybody who contributed, including Daniel. But I want to thank everybody who
I
contributed to
behaved
this.
myself. Like I was pissed off when I saw Daniel.
Did
and I
you
just held
want
my
to plug anything for this upcoming weekend, Aunt BB?
I'm not. I'll probably have another meetup on Sunday, but I don't know for sure. I have
Okay.
to decide because I have to submit it to that national site.
Okay.
But nobody showed up the last one. I didn't expect anybody to, and I don't know.
Well, maybe we'll just do more plugging for it and see and do some more stuff on Twitter and Blue Sky. And see if we can do. Maybe wait a week so it gets published on the national site and then do it a week from Sunday.
Yeah, I might. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know, I'm playing by ear.
Okay.
There's nothing locally. Like they abandoned the locals,
Yeah.
and it's all in Vancouver now.
Well, that was kind of their point. That was kind of their point.
Yeah.
As George W. Bush famously said, mission accomplished.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, guys. Thank you very much for participating.
Okay.
I really do appreciate it. It's nice to hear from all of you. From both of you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. You too.
Happy Turkey Day.
All right.
South Park Turkey. South Park Turkey.
South Park Turkey. I guess that's it. And we'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. And there we have it, folks. Let me get this taken care of here. I love this. Just so you guys know, I really do. I love that so much. Do you guys like my mad Photoshop skills? Look at that little Hitler stash I left on his nose. Oh, my God. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and have a good Thanksgiving. I will post this Thanksgiving morning early. Bye-bye.